We began with breaking news out of Newport News. Police say someone shot a woman just before 9 tonight on Randolph Road. She has serious injuries. We have not yet learned of a suspect or motive in this shooting, but if you have any information that could help police, call the crime line. Just 3 days after a shooting that left a Newport News student athlete dead, a memorial grows outside of Menchville High School in Newport News. Justice Dunham was only 17 years old. Tonight, Angelique Arentock spoke with his father and learned more about what he had planned for the future. Angelique?
Nicole, Mike Dunham still can't wrap his head around what happened Tuesday night. His teenage son, Justice, asked to go to a basketball game, but he never returned.
Justice was my hero.
17-year-old Woodside High School student athlete Justice Dunham is beloved by classmates, friends, and family.
Justice was a vibrant young man. He was an energetic young man. He was kind. He was compassionate.
Justice's father, Mike Dunham, says his son was a hard worker, interested in sports and even real estate. He had goals of going to college.
I'm going to miss him every day for the rest of my life.
After a basketball game at Menchville High School Tuesday night, police say some sort of fight involving Justice and an 18-year-old Damari Batten unfolded. Investigators say Batten fired the single deadly shot. According to court documents, Batten told detectives that he was, quote, jumped by a group of people, during which Batten says he grabbed a gun and fired a shot, not knowing who he hit.
Let's say there was a fight. It never has to get to this.
Mr. Dunham doesn't know much about what happened that night.
I can't think of any configuration of events that would have happened to justify what happened to Justice.
Police also say they recovered 2 guns in the car Justice was traveling in. Mr. Dunham says his son didn't have a weapon and he doesn't know who those guns belong to. What he does know is the violence has to stop.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of families that don't have 2 active parents, that don't have people that are worried about where they are, and we did. And at the end of the day, it still wasn't enough.
The family is still making funeral arrangements. They will make that information public as soon as possible. The family also asks that any donations go to the Boys and Girls Club of the Virginia Peninsula.
Thanks, Angelique. A Newport News school board member is calling on the entire Hampton Roads community to join in a walk against gun violence tomorrow. John Ely says it takes a village to bring an end to the violence. Tomorrow he's asking students and parents to gather for a march at Anderson Park with a goal to open up communication. That march starts at 3 p.m. Organizers say they will have food and materials to make signs. Now to the panic over viral TikTok posts that put schools in Hampton Roads and across the country on high alert today. Threats on the social media app referred to, quote, attacks on every school in America today. School divisions in Norfolk, Suffolk, Gloucester, York, Williamsburg, and James City counties all released statements saying they are taking those posts seriously while working with local authorities. School divisions and licensed counselors say this is an important time for parents to talk to their kids about the dangers of social media and the impact a simple share can have.
And I think also parents need to understand that even though their peers are going to have a major impact and a major influence on what they do, you still have an influence.
TikTok said today it has not found any content promoting violence at schools, but the company found videos discussing the rumor on their platform, and they are working to remove them. Police are asking for help finding a North Carolina woman who's been missing since July. Take a good look at your screen here. The Carteret County Sheriff's Office says Ann Willis may be in the Hampton area. Her family hasn't heard from her since July 1st. If you know where she is, call the Sheriff's Office. That number's on your screen there, 252-728-8400. Police in Chesapeake are looking into the death of a woman whose body they found behind a garage. Officers got the call from Bethel Road in South Norfolk just before 1 this afternoon. Neighbors told 13 News Now the home just got remodeled. Police believe no one lives there at the time. No word yet on who that woman was, but police say the investigation is ongoing. Pfizer announced today it's changing its dosing as it starts testing COVID-19 vaccines in babies and preschoolers. Pfizer will add a 3rd dose of the vaccine after early data found 2 to 4-year-olds didn't have as strong of an immune response. If the 3-dose study is successful, Pfizer and BioNTech say they plan to apply for emergency authorization sometime in the first half of 2022. In October, the FDA gave emergency use authorization of the Pfizer COVID vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. COVID cases across the U.S. are rising, triggering precautionary cancellations in entertainment and sports. An increase in demand for testing is leading to long lines at clinics as Americans look to safely gather for the holidays. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
As states take more precaution in response to COVID-19, an appeals court is allowing the OSHA vaccine or test mandate to move forward again. The appeals court dissolving a stay issued by another court just over a month ago. Meantime, with just about a week until Christmas, America is bracing for a bigger surge in cases, fueled by both the Delta and Omicron variants. The Omicron strain reportedly doubling every 2 to 3 days.
For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death. For yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm.
A new study, not yet peer-reviewed, finding that Omicron could spread up to 3 times faster than Delta, and that the risk of being reinfected with Omicron is more than 5 times higher than with Delta.
The minute you walk outside, you are taking some risk, so you need to do everything you can to mitigate that risk.
Omicron now detected in at least 42 states and is predicted to eclipse Delta within weeks. New York State breaking a single-day record for new infections, over 21,000. And with the holidays approaching, hundreds now lining up to get tested.
Omicron is not messing around.
The spike is already shutting down some restaurants and Broadway shows. The Rockettes, a holiday fixture, now abruptly canceling the remainder of their season.
We were all the way in our seats excited about the show, and they said it was the first show cancellation since 2005.
COVID is also having a big impact in sports. Several NFL and NHL games are being postponed, and dozens of NBA players are on COVID list. On the front lines, healthcare workers are feeling the strain. The situation mounting in Oregon, that state now scrambling to get boosters to the vulnerable.
Oregonians that are in assisted living, that are in congregate care, that are in adult foster homes. We are literally on a race against the clock.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Virginia Department of Health is also tracking another winter spike of COVID cases in the Commonwealth. Cases peaked last January, and current case counts are nearing the spike from this fall. Compared to last winter's surge, the state health commissioner says the big advantage is that close to 4 in 5 adults in Virginia are now fully vaccinated. Adding breakthrough cases are more likely to be mild.
If we're concerned about this becoming the dominant variant and spreading like wildfire among our population, the best way to protect yourself is to get vaccinated.
Dr. Oliver says as long as you're vaccinated and boosted, he believes you're in the clear to gather for the holidays. Meanwhile, VDH is following the CDC's new guidance to recommend the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines over the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Now to a developing story out of Northern Virginia. An alleged serial killer is behind bars in Fairfax County. Police linking him to the deaths of 4 women. They say he used a shopping cart to carry their bodies away. The concern now, police are worried there may be other victims. ABC's Pierre Thomas has the latest.
Tanita Laura Smith, age 39, and 54-year-old Aileen Beth Redmond disappeared in Harrisonburg, Virginia this fall. Authorities say they were murdered. Their bodies found Thanksgiving week in a vacant lot, allegedly transported in a shopping cart. 130 miles away in Fairfax County, Virginia, officials found this shopping cart and 2 more bodies in a container. One of them believed to be 29-year-old Cheyenne Brown, who was 4 months pregnant. Authorities claim 35-year-old Anthony Robinson killed the women and that he's a serial killer. He's now in custody, but authorities fear there are more victims.
Our serial killer is called the shopping cart killer. He preys on the weak, he preys on the vulnerable, and he does unspeakable things with his victim.
Police say Robinson met the women through a dating site, would lure them to motels, and then bludgeon them to death. Authorities say they have found evidence, including surveillance footage, that ties Robinson to both scenes.
It's fair to say that on the dating apps that he is known to use, there are other people that you need to contact.
There are. We know he's been in contact with other people. We found 4 people that didn't make it.
Detectives are using what's called a retrospective investigation to find out exactly where Robinson has been. They say the possibility of more than one suspect has not been ruled out.